Ow. What's up, everyone? Punchy back with Higurashi when they cry, Ch.3 to Higurashi. Well, let's see. What happened last time? Believe it was Satoko coming back to class. We're all freaking out. But everyone seemed, well, most of the class seems pretty fine that she's back, except for her friends, Mion, and Punchy. Rika just seems to be happy, so we're not really sure how she feels. But we all guess something's wrong. And we know something's wrong, actually, because thanks to Tomato-kun and Okamura-kun, we know that Satoko's uncle's back, which is a big, downer on things, because we know that he's just a dick. To be, to be straight. Finally, we heard the principal's bell ringing. The teacher came back with Satoko and Rika-chan at her side. Alright. We're starting afternoon class. Class president, please. Everybody stand up. Oh, ho. I'm sorry. How rude of me. I couldn't read anything from Satoko's vaguely sheepish expression. But given the clouded look Rika-chan was wearing behind her, so we see that Rika is, along the same lines as us right now. We're really worried about Satoko. It was tough to laugh off the disquieting story I'd heard from Mion. And I guess there goes the school day. Straight to business, which is good. Alright. First time in a while everyone's been here. Let's all have a roaring good time with the whole club. Yeah, perfect. Indeed, in times like these, the best thing to do was obviously get rowdy and scheme against one another in a club activity. Just what I was waiting for. Hey, Satoko-chan, let's play. There was that game you liked, wasn't there? What was it again? It doesn't matter which. Tell me. Mion laughed happily, took a bunch of games out of the club locker and lined them up on the desks. Oh, I get the bad feeling, especially with the sad music, that this might be another no club day. I think that was the first time Mion's eyes ever let Mion's ever let someone else decide on a game for her. I could tell she was being especially considerate to Satoko, thinking that whatever her circumstances, if we could just enjoy our time together as a group, that might be some comfort, some diversion. Satoko seemed to understand her feelings too, and smiled vaguely, though pleased. But her head slowly moved from side to side. I'm grateful, but your feelings are enough. There are many things I need to do, so... Even Rika-chan hung her head in remorse. Hey! Whoa! Seriously? All the club members are here for once and we're not playing anything? Desertion in the face of the enemy. Was the punishment game for it? Well, what was the punishment game for it? What part of the club constitution was that in? Stop it, Mi-chan. We can't force her to play with us. Hey, this old man isn't trying to force her or anything. I just thought it would be more fun for sure if we did something exciting. Really, I'm happy you feel that way. Don't worry. Next we meet, you'll see. I'll get you all caught in a gigantic trap. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Foreshadowing? Satoko, while insulting us, still said she couldn't participate in the club today and apologized. She quickly put her things into her bag and pattered out into the hallway, disappearing. It all happened in the blink of an eye. Satoko. Rika-chan stared lonesomely as her friend hurried home, unable to be part of club activities. Silence filled the classroom. Both the cheerful voices of our classmates in the schoolyard and the voices of the cicadas sounded like they were coming from some faraway world. This is boring. The silence was broken by Mion's bitterness as she began putting the games on the desk back into the locker. Everyone just stared absently at Satoko's seat, now empty. Rika-chan, maybe you could tell us about it now? Rena made as gentle a smile as she possibly could, and spoke softly to Rika-chan. Even without hearing it from her, we pretty much knew the situation at this point. Satoko's uncle had broken up with his lover and come back home to Hinamazawa. And he had taken Satoko back home and forced her to do all the household work. And that all had to be pretty rough on her. Thinking this was common knowledge to everyone, I skipped to the important part. Is it really bad? Maybe Mion and Rena wanted to ask the same question. Nobody spoke. We all just stared, waiting for Rika-chan's reply. Rika-chan still didn't answer us. We were hoping for her to say no, but her silence was a bad enough sign. Last year, was it? It was like this when both her uncle and his wife were here, right? Yeah. At the time, they were mostly just being caught between their aunt and uncle fighting. One of the ways we helped out was with the club, by reducing her time at home as much as we could, but he's making her do the chores now, so she can't stay at school either. Shit. Satoko's not a slave. Who do you think you are, ignoring your own inability to live properly and basically putting Satoko under house arrest? When you think about it, isn't this really strange? We'd need a lot of circumstantial evidence, but isn't this abuse? Can't we notify the police or something? You're right. If we had evidence she was being abused, I think we could tell the police. And we can't talk to the region's welfare people about this? Can't we? Ren and I kept saying, police, police, as though it were nothing. But Mion's response sounded like she thought we were a little naive. It's easy for you to say that. Have you thought about the risks of actually getting proof? What do you mean, risks? I think it was 2 winters ago. We reported it to the Child Consultation Center. We told them there was abuse happening, and to do something right away. Huh? You did? What happened? A person came as soon as we called. She interviewed Satoko and Satoshi about what was going on. And then their uncle and his wife, too. I can understand asking Satoko and Satoshi, but wouldn't it be not so good to talk to the aunt and uncle? They said they'd base their judgment on what they heard from both sides. Great of them, wasn't it? So, what did they decide to do? Wait and see. What? What do you mean, wait and see? The uncle really studied up on this stuff. By law, you can't call it abuse unless someone admits to assault or child neglect. They poked and prodded Satoko and Satoshi a lot, but it never left any real marks on them. They were pretty much eating 3 meals a day and had beds, and there weren't any recordings or something like that to prove they'd said or done anything to cause them physiological trauma. None of the villagers had ever actually seen them being violent either. No matter how mean you are, you wouldn't act so violent in front of other people. Nobody would. Then, what happened? The welfare officer apparently went to visit on the same day each week for a while. The aunt and uncle knew they were being watched though, and didn't torment them in any way that would stand out. Of course, that wasn't the end of it. You mean, they ramped up how malicious they were being? Mion sighed and nodded. Their aunt and uncle were Their aunt was really damn stubborn. She's one of the most spiteful people I've ever known. Apparently, she was doing some pretty disgusting things. Satoko was like a doll that did nothing but breathe by the end of it. So what? From that conclusion, does that mean they never should have contacted child welfare in the first place? Understand? Without proof of abuse, so clear anyone could see it, there's nothing we can do. In fact, it might even make the situation worse. We messed up pretty bad. After hearing that, even public organizations, the one thing they thought was dependable, couldn't do anything. Everyone hung their heads. That's actually pretty scary if you think about it. So there's Mion, with all the power of the Sonozaki clan, and yet they couldn't find evidence of the Hoju family, or at least, the aunt and uncle in the Hoju family, being, showing any signs of child abuse to their children. You're hiding, something that, seems like, the marks of abuse, which is something that I would assume the Yakuza of the Mion, of the Sonozaki clan, you'd be able to hide that from them. That's scary. In other words, until we have clear evidence of abuse, we shouldn't notify anyone? Well, basically, yeah. I consider Satoko's current situation. She was brought back to our house. It was a little difficult to call that abuse. She was being tormented and forced to do the chores. How was she being tormented would be the key, but without concrete evidence, it would be difficult to prove. If she had some kind of external injury, maybe that would work. But as far as we could tell from today, she had nothing like that. And being forced to do the chores, that was a bit weak too. It seems to me like for them, it's mostly mental and emotional torture. There had to be better evidence that she was without a doubt being abused. I know. Her uncle had ignored Satoko's existence for a whole year and went to live with his lover in town. Didn't that fall under one of the definitions of abuse that Mion had mentioned? Child neglect? Yeah. It's the perfect case of child neglect. What about that, Mi-chan? If her uncle wasn't here right now, it could be recognized as child neglect. But he's living with her at the moment, isn't he? They were apart before, but if he said something like he had a change of heart and decided to live with her, then they might just wait and see again. Once he reported it, we would need to be absolutely sure they'd interpret it as abuse. Maybe we needed far more concrete evidence, lest we repeat last year's mistake. It's sad. This means we need to sit quietly and wait for him to be violent towards Satoko-chan and leave a mark, don't we? The only plan I could think of was, in the end, just watching and waiting. It left me in shock when I realized that it would be the same policy as that of the officials who had made the situation worse. As Mion said, reporting it to a public agency would be a gamble. If we were going to pick a fight, it would have to be one we couldn't afford to lose. If we were gambling without enough money, without enough evidence, our defeat would be assured. If we took the time to amass enough money that we could be sure of victory, then that would mean pretending we didn't see Satoko's plight for a considerable amount of time. Sorry for bringing this up now, but how's Rika-chan able to live by herself? Rika-chan had lost her parents, if I recalled correctly. From what I'd heard, she had no relatives either. She was forced to live on her own as a result, but her life was uttered unfettered, free of restriction. If she could somehow grant the freedom to Satoko too... I mean, Rika-chan, you're living without any parents, right? Don't kids with no guardians have to go to orphanages and stuff? Punchy-kun, that's cruel. I'm not saying it to be mean. I only asked because I thought maybe there would be a hint to saving Satoko. Rika-chan, sorry if I offended you. Rika-chan shook her head, not particularly disturbed. Well, you see, it's because I'm considered the mayor's daughter. Let me explain. The mayor, Old Man Kimiyoshi, is Rika-chan's guardian. He's got official permission from the governor of the prefecture. Huh. So you're adopted? No, not adopted. You can be someone's guardian without being in the same family. Oh, I get it. Rika-chan lives by herself, but by law, she's considered to live with the mayor, right? Yeah, basically. That's how Rika-chan avoids being sent to an orphanage. Actually, it would be called Child and Family Services, not an orphanage. Meep. I don't understand the hard things, but anyway, she's right. Interesting you should say that, Mion. You can be someone's guardian even if they're in another family? Then shouldn't we have the mayor or someone else become Satoko's guardian, if only on paper? Then she'd be in the same position as Rika-chan. And she could go back to her old life. Too bad it won't work. I mean, her uncle is supposedly her guardian. Wait a minute. You lost me there. What's a guardian exactly, anyway? In legal terms, a guardian and a parent weren't necessarily synonyms. So whoever was actually looking after her at home would be considered her guardian. Then her uncle isn't her guardian. He left Satoko by herself for so long. But if he insists he's her guardian, then that's it. It's been a few days since Satoko was taken back to her house. Her uncle's been paying for her meals since then, right? He is sort of looking after her, so he'd probably insist. And even though he abandoned her for a year, he's already looked after her for the whole year before that. But the mayor doesn't have that kind of history. So then if both the mean uncle and the mayor requested the guardianship at the same time, the uncle would make more sense? No, but he'd have a better chance. The term guardian refers to the person actually caring for her, right? The uncle actually has a bed and food for her, but the mayor would just have his name. It wouldn't even be a contest. Then, shouldn't the mayor just start caring for her for real? He'd be her guardian name and reality if he did. We just need to shelter Satoko. This might lead to her uncle being desperate to take her back, but will stubbornly refuse him. It won't be that easy. Satoko's a growing girl, you know? It's not like giving someone a cat. You're asking him to care for a real person. Then Coach! What about Coach? Coach, I don't know, he's got a lot of money, right? He even said it himself. Even if he's not her real father, Coach could become her guardian. Coach he would be great at taking care of her. Stop that! Stop thinking of Satoko like a pet. All you're doing is talking about pushing her onto someone else. You need to think more seriously about how much responsibility it is to take care for another human being. Did you ask him? Did you get an actual promise from him that he'd take Satoko under his care? No, I didn't. But Coach would definitely say yes. Huh. Well, fine. Even considering the 0% probability of Coach saying it was okay, then what? It still wouldn't work. He couldn't become a guardian all by himself. That's right. Coach, didn't he say it himself? He was alone, so he couldn't do it. Shh. Shit, what the hell? Why is being single such a disadvantage in this society? Then, I could do is marry into a wealthy family, couldn't you? Is there anyone that wealthy in Hinamizawa? I'm not sure. See, it's not simple. It's hard to adopt someone, and you can't go into it thinking you'll push Satoko onto someone else just for a little while. You're being naive, Punchy-chan. Shit, damn it, what the hell? I'm desperately thinking of how to save Satoko, and all he's saying is no, no. Don't you care about Satoko? Oh god, Punchy. You even worried about our friend? Okay, someone needs to slap him up a bit. I don't even want to read Punchy right now. I didn't mean that. But it just won't be that easy, and it's not that difficult a problem. We just need to have someone rich oh. Punchy, I know how you're feeling, man, but you can't just like it's not a simple problem. If it was a simple problem, this would have been dealt with already. It's not that difficult of a problem. It's not that difficult a problem. We just need to have some rich people look after Satoko for a while. That's all. Right. What about your family, Mion? You always brag about how great it is being one of the 3 families or whatever, don't you? From what you said, you must live in a gigantic house. My house? No, that won't happen. My grandma would never allow it. Then what about your relatives in Okinomiya? From what I've heard, they're living in luxury themselves. There's plenty of shops your relatives manage in town too. Your family are basically millionaires, aren't they? No, that won't work. Going to Okinomiya is even more out of the question. My father, he never let it happen, ever. Hey. Normally you act like some high and mighty bigwig, and now you're being all spineless? What the hell? Are you just going to sit by and watch Satoko suffer? No, I don't. But, I mean, I want to help as much as you. But, that's a different story. How is it a different story? How can you be so cold-hearted? Your friend is in trouble. What are you if you don't rescue her? You're a president. Our club president. Save her. Save her from this crisis. Sorry. If you don't save her right now, you're not her friend. You're not even human. I don't know if you have any humanity left in you. Are you listening to me, Mion? My emotions all exploded out of me, and I didn't even give her a chance to say anything in response. I just wanted to make Mion angry with me, even if I had to force her. If she did, Satoko's problems would be solved. If pushing her would solve the issue, then I'd push her as much as I needed to. Why aren't you saying anything anymore? I'm asking you, asshole. Well, say something, Mion Sonozaki. Me? Mion, looking down with a grim face, began sobbing. Her hands were clenched into trembling fists, and she rubbed her eyes to wipe away the tears. Was what I actually said that mean? This isn't the time to cry. We're in the gambling room now, and we have to do something to save Satoko. And as I thought, Rena spoke, her voice cold and incredibly calm. Punchy-kun, if Michan's family won't work, then what if you look for another wealthy family? I know someone in Hinozawa who lives in a nice big house. Who's that? Oh, come on! You've got a splendid family and you're leaving it out of things? My family? My family is... Your friends, right? Save her, Punchy-kun. Michan is cold-hearted, after all. Since you are so considerate towards friends, you should lead by example. Just the 3 of you are living in that huge house, right? And you've probably got plenty of spare rooms. You should just give a few of those empty ones to Satoko-chan. And then her worries would be all over. What's this? We're done already? That was pretty quick. Okay, great. Congratulations on solving the problem. Then are we done for today? I'm going home. Hooray, hooray. Maybe go treasure hunting. I haven't done that in a while. I was so worried about Satoko-chan until now that I didn't feel like going to play at all. I wonder what I'll find today. How? Say something, will you? Why am I the only one talking? Say something, you bastard! Are you listening, Punchy Maribara? Oh shit. Even the cicadas seem to cower in fear. Rena, her shoulders popping up and down, and me, who had forgotten to breathe. Mion, whose face had gone completely pale, and Rika-chan was keeping silent as if nothing happened. The atmosphere in the classroom grew tight and stiff, and it petrified us where we stood. The sound of the chair as Rena sat back down, after having stood up, finally allowed everyone present to take a breath. Oh, jeez. I thought last time was pretty dramatic, but this time, Jesus, I don't think there's ever been a time when like they've argued, like, or at least there's been this much argument. I mean, maybe except for when they were the others were going crazy and Punchy was, I don't know. This is a rough one to end on. Anyway, yeah, like I'm saying, we're cutting off here. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe, and oh god, come back next time. Let's see if it gets better. Ugh. Bye.